chances are you're thinking, oh, we can be back up and running within an hour. Well, the answer to that really is that's a fact-specific determination.
Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right.
So cyber attacks happen all the time, every day, multiple times a day. But sometimes there's one that comes along that everybody should pay attention to. And we just recently had one, especially for healthcare. So pay attention to this episode. Couple of things, well, a number of things is going to make this difference. But let's get into the attack on Stryker, a healthcare business associate.
Yeah, they're like a supply company, and then they have medical devices and software. There's a lot going on with them. But they identified a cybersecurity incident affecting certain IT systems, causing a global disruption to the company's Microsoft environment. And they activated its cybersecurity response plan and outside experts to investigate and contain.
Yeah. Well, all that sounds normal. So, there are some things that we do know that are kind of weird. So, first of all, there's no evidence of ransomware or malware, right?
Yep.
That's interesting in and of itself. So, what is the goal then? If there's no ransomware, there's no malware, what are they trying to do, Donna?
So, the story is, and it's being reported, we're talking Brian Krebs and Andrea Fox. We followed them. We know they do good, solid reporting. And there's a group calling themselves Handala, believed to be linked to Iranian intelligence, and they have claimed responsibility. And they claim that they did a data wiping attack, supposedly hitting, like, I saw somewhere they claimed it was like thousands, maybe 200,000. I don't know. But if they did a wiper attack, the whole goal for that is to disrupt your business and shut you down.
Yeah, it's just, the funny thing about it is doing what viruses used to do. Like, do you remember in the 80s, I think it was, or maybe the early 90s, the Chernobyl virus? Its whole thing was, it's literally going to melt your computer down. Well, not literally, but it gets in there and just destroys everything. Like, there's nothing else other than pure destruction. Now, over the years, we've moved kind of away from that. So even though this is a new attack, it's not a new attack. We're kind of going back to what used to be, which is, hey, let's just get in there and start destroying stuff.
Well, and I mean, that is like in the original world, it was like, that's why people wrote those viruses and stuff. Hey, look what I can do. I can blow things up. And then it became, that it's using it. But now it's not just look what I can do. This is a counterattack against the critical infrastructure of the United States. So the critical infrastructure, we have to remind people healthcare is part of critical infrastructure in a few different ways. But if they can just stop, shut down big chunks of healthcare anywhere in the world, everybody knows about that. I don't care where you are.
Well, it's also good to remind people that there's already been documented cases and proven through research that these things can kill people. Like cyber attacks can kill people. So this disruption, although it can be economic, it can also literally be life-threatening.
And that's where we get to cyber safety is patient safety. As always, we come back to that. So, Stryker hasn't provided any of these details. This is what people have been able to track down, and they believe has been what happened. That they are speculating that somebody had administrative access to Microsoft Intune, which let them remotely wipe devices. Which that's using legitimate stuff. It's not malware. It's not ransomware.
Right.
I mean, and they apparently also stole like 50 terabytes of data or something. That was the claim. We haven't gotten confirmed, but the bottom line is they're claiming it, and usually these kind of things track back, and it looks like that's really for real what happened. So we're not attacking for money anymore. And for years, that's what we've worried about. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the big motivational thing. So,
well, if you also remember, I think it was Maersk that had a cyber attack. The insurance company fought them on that. I don't even remember how it ended up landing, but basically they were saying if the cyber attack is due to a nation state actor, then we're not going to cover it.
Yeah.
And most of your policies, I think mine, like my own cyber liability insurance, says nation state attacks are an exemption, whatever, but they're not going to cover that.
So add that to the list here. We didn't put that on our list at the end. We're covered. Good note. Ask if you had anything. No, I think we're good. No, yeah. Once we start talking about it, we're going to add more to it. But the overall concern and why we're saying everybody should pay attention is, one, to find out if this truly is what happened, because that's going to tell you a lot. And two is, even if it didn't happen, we know that the likelihood of it occurring has risen due to what's happening in the world. And it is way easier to do a cyber attack on a small hospital or, doctors groups, or go after a MSP or, like in this case, somebody else in the supply chain. And that's stuff where people have already been working on doing that. You can go out and buy access to machines. Where do you have that? Where do you know that's happening? All they have to do is take their new objective and apply it to information they already had and may have already used. So if we don't pay attention to it, then there's a chance that we may be missing our ability to prepare for it. And so everybody should be watching, because they can go out and go after anybody, but there are strategic attacks, and it doesn't matter what you do. If you're in the supply chain, they can try to find a way to use you. So here's the three big reasons. The supply chains are critical infrastructure, yes. And we all have talked repeatedly about the critical infrastructure. And after the Change healthcare debacle, I guess that's the easiest way to describe it. But, HSCC, Health Sector Coordinating Council, came out with the Sector Mapping and Risk Toolkit, which is cool because now they get to call it SMART. But its whole concept was to take areas within the way the healthcare system is connected and find as many of those supply chain issues that could be occurring. Where could, there's IT systems that would really matter, all of those things. And they looked at blood distribution, medical devices, pharmaceuticals, billing and claims, went through all of those things. And by the way, shout out to Sam Jacks over at McLaurin Health. She was the co-lead of doing SMART. And she also came over and did Cargan Club Hangout. to explain to
Mhm.
our folks, how can you use this information? What do you need to do with it? So it was a pretty interesting discussion, and hopefully everyone enjoyed it. I certainly did. And the whole concept is we need to be aware of how many places we could get, slammed against the wall and not even know it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
whether you use smart or not, you still got to figure it out.
yeah, I mean, it all boils down to exactly that is, what are your risks? We're back to square one again. Like,
Yeah.
you still have to do a risk assessment.
Yep.
Like, you got to start there. What are your risks? Listening to us, you should have new risks every so often. I'm sure we're bringing something to your attention like, oh, I didn't realize that's
Mhm.
another risk that I should be paying attention to. And that's an opportunity for you to take that and say, okay, let's plug that in and do a risk assessment based on this one risk. What is our risk assessment on this one risk to our organization?
Well, I would hope that you would have something like this on there already, but the
Yeah.
changes that you would make in your assessment, the information that's different is the likelihood has increased significantly, at least for right now,
Mhm.
and that they're not just targeting PHI, their intent is to create as much havoc as possible, to shut you down. So when that's their goal, it's a different impact. Their goal is to create as much impact as possible, where that's
This
not
is
necessarily the goal with the others.
this is one of the reasons, and this people might argue one way or the other on this, but for me, I don't like posting on, like, for example, my website. I don't like posting, these are the brands we use.
Mhm.
I don't like posting, these are the clients that we have.
Yeah.
You see that everywhere. Here's a list. Here's our clients. And it's a marketing thing. I get it, but I don't like it. I don't
Mhm.
like doing it for not at an MSP level, because you're basically telling people, if you can attack me, these are other people that you can get to.
Mhm.
And or vice versa. And oh, by the way, if you want to know what tools I use so you can go look at vulnerabilities that are out there, here's the list of those too. It's I don't, it used to be a thing, and I think it was good to have at one time. Nowadays, I consider that a risk. I consider having my tools stack a risk to tell everybody.
Mhm.
When I send out a proposal, I don't even include it there. Like, if you want to know what the security stack actually is, we can have a conversation about it, but I'm not putting it in writing because I don't want it to go anywhere.
Yeah, the less people know, the better. And how they go about getting these tools and getting access, that is the new. When your objective is slightly different, you change your method sometimes, but
Mhm.
we need to recognize that they could be targeting the EHR, but they could also be targeting all of the business systems. And that's what happened with these guys. They just went after the systems so they could get in there and wipe them and you couldn't use them.
Yeah.
And that, that it's still, we have to worry about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So,
Yeah.
on availability,
That's right.
confidentiality, they're stealing the data because who knows what they're going to want to do with it. They might try to get money out of you. Who knows? But
Mm-hmm.
probably using it, to make money elsewhere, to attack others, or to sell to somebody. But overall, you can't. This is one of the reasons where HIPAA says you have to worry just about PHI. And we say worry about anything that could bring your operations to a halt. Anything that is, proprietary, trade secrets, financials, all of that should be considered because those could impact availability, not just confidentiality. And so often those blinders are on. I only have to worry about PHI.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about that when there's no PHI. But if it goes down, you can't get to any of the other things. Oh, yeah. Oopsie.
Yeah. There is that.
And that's what these folks, I mean, they're having a problem with you ordering the devices and ordering your supplies that they sell. Their ordering system is the thing they're having the biggest problem with. But they do have some of their medical devices that connect to systems. And I've seen multiple articles or conversations about it where in one they encourage you to disconnect from them, and then in another one it was hospitals and other healthcare entities are disconnecting from them as a precaution. That they weren't told, they were just doing it. So I didn't see it in an announcement anywhere, but they did tell employees, don't use the Wi-Fi, don't use any of your stuff, don't connect to any of our resources, and even said you should, on your work phone, remove the Stryker profile, which is the MDM. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of hint that it's traveling throughout their own infrastructure, if you will.
Yeah. That cleanup is going to be massive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
Just-
it's and some of those computers, sometimes when they, depending on how they do it and what they do, you can't just get them back easily. And it's yeah, and scattered all over the world. You're not just going down to Bubba's.
not Bubba's.
Ah,
Bubba's IT and firearm shop.
that's right. Well, what is this? A huge Saudi company that got hit years ago, and they bought up.
Aramco.
Yeah, and they got hit so bad they had to replace all these computers. They actually
Mhm.
bought companies that made computers and then had all of their computers so that you couldn't buy from
Yeah.
them. They needed so many.
Yeah, there was a shortage of hard drives for months.
Yeah.
I remember like, oh Lord, I can't get any hardware. Yeah, I can't remember the number, but it was some crazy number. They needed like, I don't remember, 20,000 hard drives or something.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I don't remember, but I know that it was such a major impact to the entire world because this one big company got hit. These are the kind of things that we're talking about because that was a nation state cyber attack, and we're back to that world now. So know that the intent is not just to steal your data and make things a little uncomfortable for you by telling you got to pay me money. The intent is to destroy your ability to function. And that's why you need to step back and look at this differently. Have you truly considered that, okay, here's the objective. It's not to get money out of me. It's to destroy me, my business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what your risk analysis needs to do. I mean, yes, you're going to need to recover, if they're wiped versus encrypted, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier, honestly. If I'm trying to destroy your systems, that's a lot easier than trying to do ransomware and getting paid from you and everything else.
Yeah, see that, you don't have to do the customer service of accepting the payments.
I know. You just run in there and leave.
Yeah. So, and it's a whole lot easier to, go in with the intention of destruction and not let me cut out enough so that all I'm doing is holding you hostage and you can get back to normal. That's not the intent. And that's why we're saying take a step back and evaluate what if that were the objective, because it has been focused primarily on financial objectives for so long. You probably haven't thought that through. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about at least what we know here, but in general, I mean, these attacks can happen and start with stolen admin credentials or compromised identity systems. So one area you definitely want to focus on are those two things. And those are two different things. But number one, how many admin accounts do you even have? I see a crazy proliferation of admin accounts. It's like everybody does not need to be an admin.
Mm-mm.
And in some cases, it's too many people are admin. And so just trying to lock that down is hard. In other cases, you have administrative accounts that didn't get closed out that should have been because whatever, people leave or you change vendors or whatever the case might be. But definitely you need to look at what does your admin accounts across everything look like and tighten those down. If you can have one single admin account, that's great. If you can have no admin accounts, even better, but I don't know if you can get there. But, and that's why, like for us and our MSP, we have a piece of software that does what's called just-in-time admin access. So it literally creates an admin account for one-time use and then removes it so that we don't have to keep creating and using admin accounts. Now, there still has to be the one admin account, but we don't have to have access to that. We can literally create them on the fly and destroy them when we're done with it. So things like that is really useful. Your identity systems, like what do those look like? A lot of people are moving to cloud identity systems, whether that's AWS or Azure or whatever. You know, used to it was a local server that handled those types of things. Now it can be any number of different options.
Yes. And that whole concept of moving to the cloud means make sure you're securing that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, properly securing those tools, those admins, because often, you know, we're moving away from a lot of that. But when you look at being able to use passkeys and all those other things and assigning them to the admin account, things get a little complicated sometimes for folks. But the most important thing is use admin privileges as little as possible. Don't have them. And you haven't done that little exercise. This would be a good reason. This would be a good reason to go look at the roles and the capabilities on your network, not getting into the PHI so much as if all I can need to do is get to the computer and destroy the computer, okay, that's all I'm after. So that's where your problem lies, which is very different approach.
Yeah. So the first thing you need to do, we just mentioned, review your identity security immediately. Look at those things. Make sure MFA is enabled everywhere. You think I shouldn't have to say that, but good grief. I mean, we've been called into business email compromise, and it's like, I thought that you have somebody like the CEO or owner says, I thought we had MFA across everybody. And you start looking, it was like, oh yeah, everybody but this guy that pitched a fit and didn't want it. Or in one case, we found that it was the internal IT guy who he wanted everybody else on MFA, but he didn't want to be on it. And he was the very one that got compromised. So it's like, you know, trust but verify. Let's look, make sure everybody's on it. And that's a good place to start. The second one would be, and this was a little harder, but test your ability to rebuild your systems.
Yep.
So, you know, if all of your systems disappear tomorrow, your desktops, laptops, whatever, how quickly can you get them back going? How can you rebuild them? Can you buy more? I mean,
well, and you don't just, the answer to that question is, well, David will handle it. That is not the answer to the question. Yes, David will handle it, but do you have a clue what that would require from him? You know?
Yeah. This is where we start getting into discussions about recovery time objectives.
Yes.
Which is usually something we talk about when we talk about backup. But here we're talking about business continuity. That goes beyond backup. Business continuity. How quickly can you continue doing business? And this could be purchasing hardware, re-imaging the hardware, or manual setups, depending on what it is. And most smaller companies don't have imaging. They have, you know, manual installs of everything.
Yeah.
What about your backups? Are they online? Are they offline? Where are they? How quickly can we get them? If they're large, you have to have them shipped to you potentially. And how long does that take? I mean, there's so many questions. Chances are you're thinking, oh, we can be back up and running within an hour. Well, the answer to that really is that's a fact-specific determination.
Yeah.
But you need to understand when is that true and when is that not true. And what you might find out is the narrow scope in which that is true might not be something you want to hear. But
Yes.
you need to know that.
And so, again, it goes back to what you pay for is restore, not backup. And that is, it's not just I need to restore a file. I have to make the computer work again from nothing.
Right.
And that is not something, it depends on how you're structured. And depending on what you have configured, you may go and your IT people can tell you, oh, well, we have these imaged and we just spin it up and we can do this, 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 and this. But often they only handle like the cloud environment now in a lot of cases, not the physical device. That's handled by somebody else.
Yeah. And then you got to ask yourself the question of, okay, if we're pushing the re-imaging of things and get back up and running as fast as possible, are we destroying evidence?
Yes. Because you still have to investigate this. This is still a cyber attack. So you have to stop it, stop the bleeding and deal with that. That's one task. And another task is figure out what happened. Where did they get to? Are they gone? Can they come back in? All of those questions, that's still part of the process. It doesn't change anything. In fact, making sure they're gone and they can't get back in is even more important because they're going to keep destroying everything as long as they can.
Mm-hmm. So the third thing I would bring up is to review your remote management tools. Now, there's definitely the remote management tools that your IT or any type of technology company could have in place. Like in this case, you have Microsoft Intune, which is a mobile device management platform, among other things.
Mm-hmm.
They keep changing the name of things, so who knows what it'll be by the time this airs.
Yeah.
So your mobile device management platform or any kind of device management platform, like who has those? Who's managing those? Which ones are authorized to use or not use? If you're a company that has an MSP, maybe you've changed MSPs. I used to joke that I could always tell how many previous MSPs they had because you could find every single remote access tool left on there.
Yeah.
And so you would know, oh, there's 3 different remote access tools on here. So I know I'm the 4th MSP. and then you got people that like the copier companies, they want remote access and, other people want remote access. And it's amazing how often the answer is, oh, you need remote access? Sure.
Admin? No problem.
Yeah. Or you got employees get remote access and subcontractors get remote access. I mean, there are all these things. You've got to keep up with every single bit of it.
Yeah. And if you just assume, then you won't know when things are happening and like, oh, there's a big attack happening to everybody that uses X, Y, and Z remote management. I'm not going to pick one out, but X, Y, Z remote management, everybody that's using that, having an attack, you need to disconnect. Well, if you don't even know, you're waiting on somebody else to tell you. If you knew that, you can take action really quick, get to the front of the line. And that's what you need to do and why you need to know, because if these things exist out there from your previous MSP, or I just wanted to access it from home for the weekend so I could get some stuff done and watch the kids, and I'll take it off after that. No, and then it never happens. So those are the ones you have to look for, because the minute that is, if they can get into one and it's connected, what was it I saw? Somebody did a report and said they were seeing that they were able to move through a complete network in 30 minutes from entrance to completely move through it, take over.
Oh yeah. I just, I haven't finished reading through it, but there's a recent, I think it was CrowdStrike came out with a report and they said the fastest I think it was like the fastest compromise they've seen so far is like 23 seconds. What in the world?
Which is a perfect segue to the next step. And I think this is the most important. You should have a lot of things in place to try to prevent. You do need to go through and make sure you've evaluated it from the device perspective of all your devices are wiped out. But the causing chaos is the intent. And your business continuity plans, we've done tons of episodes on it. You know, incident response, business continuity, disaster recovery. All of those have to be happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Simultaneously. However, many people, this is the thing they have the least of. And they'll say, yeah, we got a plan. And then when something actually happens, then you're figuring out the details. You know, we've just said so-and-so is going to be in charge. You know, and here's the phone numbers for people. That's not enough. Oh, we'll go to paper. Not enough. There's more to it that you have to figure out on the back end, as well as, you know, I always love that thought process that you see when, oh, we're going to go to paper. Well, if you go to paper, how many people in your office have used paper ever? And now it's like, well, only 2. No one's ever done their job with paper. So now and it took way more people to do the work with paper than it does on the computers. So you now are going to be slower, less accurate, not sure what you're doing, and you're going to be creating yet another thing that has to be protected and kept up with. So it's those kind of deals that spend time on your business continuity. If all of my devices are wiped out, if this happened, you get a wiper, and in 23 seconds, they've wiped out any device that you have. It's just blank. What are you going to do next? Go through that desktop exercise.
Put in for retirement.
I know. Don't, you know, I'm going to call Donna and David.
You can, but we're going to ask you all these questions that we already presented. Like, where's your incident response plan? Where's your business continuity plan? Who's your, you know, MSP? Who's your lawyer? Who's your insurance? We're going to ask you all those. So,
yeah, it's exactly the case, though. You know, it's if you haven't done these, we can't fix it on the fly, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're telling you. That's not something you can fix on the fly. What do you say? It's like changing tires while the car's still going.
Yeah. Oh, trying to operate on your leg while you're running a marathon.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah, that might hit home when you talk about healthcare. You think they would notice it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Put somebody on a treadmill and see if you can do an operation on their leg while they're running on a treadmill.
Because that's essentially
how
what
IT feels.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about doing. All right. So we should have done at the beginning, and maybe we'll do it in the next one. Shout out to Carolyn Scott, who's doing a post on LinkedIn talking about what she's learned from our episodes. She's done a couple of them, and that's really awesome. And she did the 550 of why organizations are just doing RC and not G.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Immensely.
A lot. Yeah, it's been great. So thank you very much to, and Trina Bean is in there commenting too about it being informative on that one. So thanks for folks discussing us and giving us all the good wishes on the 550th episode. So just want to get that in there.
Yep. Now I just got to drag Donna into the 600th episode. Kicking and screaming.
Ow. I'm hurt already.
Well, the good thing about it, Donna, is you don't have to worry about talking about anything new. We'll just keep covering the same stuff.
I know, right? That's what it feels like. Yeah, we'll cover another risk analysis settlement next week, because why not? Although that one's a little different. There's more to it, but yes.
Yeah, it'll give you something to think about. For sure. All right, folks, that is our show for today. Thanks for listening. Be sure to join us again next week. And remember, for Donna and myself, the HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.